Hi everybody, it's Nick. It's absolutely stunning spring morning. I'm not sure how long this weather's going to last for, but let's hope it lasts for as long as possible. I wanted to talk today, if I may, a little bit more about the menopause. And the reason I keep coming back to this subject is because I really think it's a subject we need to keep addressing, and we need to get far better at the diagnosis and treatment of it. So, whether it's the perimenopause or the menopause, whichever stage you're at, can really be quite debilitating. Now, equally, it cannot be debilitating, and it's very much an individual and personal journey, and I think that's what makes it so difficult. But certainly the way things are set up currently within, certainly my experience within the NHS and our society at present, one size fits all, simply sticking a HRT patch on somebody wasn't a solution for me. Now, that's not to say it's not for other people, but I do think that hormones are quite a complex, it is quite a complex subject, and for those people who aren't having the easiest of times, my symptoms are, the biggest one I think that gets me down the most is the severe exhaustion. So it just means that, I've been somebody that's been pretty hyperactive for most of my life. My mum will testify to the fact that even as a baby I didn't really sleep. And also I've been incredibly fit for most of my life. And the menopause at times turns me into somebody that actually can't get off the sofa. And that I find very sad. And that actually does get me down. So the extreme fatigue is very, very tangible and real. And the other thing is the duration. So this isn't something that just takes place over a few months. I mean, I've got to this stage, and I'm sure if I have, other people have, where I don't necessarily, ring somebody every day or talk about it every day, because it's so old same. I have my peaks and troughs, and sometimes, I've been going through this process now for nearly 2 years. I'm only 47 years old. I could go through this process until I'm 60. So, it is quite a long duration. And I do wonder whether sometimes people shut off and actually stop talking about it because they just don't want to keep talking about the same thing. I know that I certainly feel like that sometimes. So what I think is really important for us to do is get far better at diagnosing the complexity and the interaction of what's actually happening with our hormones, so that we can have far more tailored and bespoke solutions. So personally, my really big thing is my estrogen. So my body just, for whatever reason, decides it just doesn't want to make the level of estrogen that my brain actually needs to operate, which results in really extreme fatigue. I have this incredible muscle and backache with it, and if I don't actually put estrogen into me, then I simply don't get off the sofa. And that's not because it's not mind over matter, I just don't physically have the capacity. And the other thing is, a lot of people will talk about levels, particularly when you go and they say, oh, we'll do a blood test and we'll look at the level. Actually, your overall estrogen level, this is just my example, can perhaps look fine according to an average, but we all know what averages are made out of, highs and lows. But actually they need digging into a lot deeper than that, because although that might look okay, what is the control figure? What's the comparison? So what does your body actually need to operate at? And each of us will need a different level. And there are some more sophisticated indicators within your overall estrogen level that can give certainly specialists a much clearer indication of what level of estrogen your body needs to work at. Now, if you were to measure me on normal national scales, you would say, I don't know why you're feeling like that. It's only when you unpick that top level figure and you actually get into the intricacies within it that you start to understand that my brain is asking for a seriously higher amount of estrogen than my ovaries are able to actually produce. So, yeah, what am I saying? What am I saying is it can be really debilitating. This is the first time I've been out for a walk in a few weeks. Okay, yes, I have been at home because my daughter's been ill. She is better now, thank goodness. But also, I genuinely have felt really quite exhausted whilst I plough through my latest plan that I've made with my consultant to try and effectively offset the deficit of estrogen in my body. And day by day, you know, hopefully it will get better. But I'm not the person that I was. I don't have the physical capability that I was, and that makes me sad. It makes me really sad. And, you know, I'm going to try and work really hard, you know, with my consultant, you know, with some more natural approaches. You know, I do definitely believe in taking a balanced approach to this. And as I felt this morning, I'm like, well, I'm going to be told whether I'll go for a walk or not, so I may as well go for a walk. But, you know, the diagnosis and the treatment needs to be far more individualised for women. We need to keep talking about this and, you know, make sure that people understand just how debilitating it can be. And the fact that I do think it can lead to severe depression, certainly from my experience, not just because your hormones are out of balance, but just because it goes on so long. And when you feel rough for a long period of time, do you know what? It gets you down. So, yeah, let's keep the conversation going and let's try and get a little bit better help for the masses of women out there who, unlike me, probably aren't under a private consultant and probably may not be getting the help they need. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye.